Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope your trading is going great. You had a wonderful week. It was a great week. We've had some trades going well, so we'll have a look at how the week went and forecast the market ahead. First things first, let's check how we can benefit from this video. It's going to be about an hour and a half long. I try to keep it under an hour and a half. Even though ideally I would like to keep it under an hour, it's almost impossible to do that. But it's going to be essentially about an hour and a half, but you don't have to go through the whole 1.5 hours if there's stuff that you're not interested in. If you're only interested in specific charts, go to any of my videos. If you click on any of my videos on my channel, you click on the Show More tab. That's the Show More tab. There you click on it. Then it will expand. Let's just, sorry, that was last week. Right, so when you click on the Show More tab, you'll find that, let's click on it. You'll find that each and every pair is time-stamped. So if you're specifically looking for pound JPY, you click on pound JPY, and the video will take you straight to the pound yen analysis. This is where we were last week, and this is how you can benefit from that. All right, so let's talk about the course. As a lot of people have been inquiring about the course, last week we've got a number of registrations for the course, so it's getting full very fast. It is the last one for the year. It is going to be on the 3rd of December up until the 13th of December, so that means a 10-day course. So you need to register now if you're interested in this last course of this year, because after that we're only going to have the next course in February. So as soon as you register, the whole course is recorded on videos, over 20 hours of video materials that you can get access to as soon as you register. So the cost is $529 US. It's recorded on videos. The day that you register and you subscribe, I send you the full recorded course so you can start learning. So that is what we're going to be doing after the December course. If you are subscribed after the December course, you're not going to have another live one. So you will only have access to the video material. There is not much difference between the video material or the video course and the live course. The only difference is that during the live course, you are able to interact and engage and ask questions. But with only the videos, you can only ask the questions in the Slack, in our Slack group. So if you want more information on the course and the details about the timings, the course content, send me an email. I'll send you the course overview as well as the course schedule. All right, so that's that about the course. So it is all recorded. You don't have to wait for December. It's actually an advantage to register early so that when the course comes up, you already have an idea what we look at and how we look at the charts. Right. So we don't have, we cannot spend a lot of time going into the details about the course. So all the details is on the email. You send me an email, I'll send you a quick reply with all the information that you require. All right, so let's get back to the business of the day, which is the analysis. Right, let's go. So we're gonna have these two pairs. So just something very interesting that I was listening to. I think that can inspire some. It may have nothing to do with trading, but I think it was something that was inspirational for me. I was listening to an interview about, they was interviewing this guy called Ronnie Coleman. He's one of the, arguably the best bodybuilders of all time. Dominated Mr. Olympia for a while. So they were asking him about the rivalry that he had with the other bodybuilders, and they were asking him how he handled the competition with the others. So his answer was what fascinated me, and he said that obviously the rivalry between him and those other bodybuilders was generated by the media to obviously develop interest and get more people to be interested in the story. But what was important in what he said was that he did not care about what the other rivals were doing in terms of their training for the Mr. Olympia and everything. So he said he concentrated on what he could do himself at the gym. So he said, if I could be the best that I can be the hardest working than everybody else, then I knew that they couldn't touch me. So what he was essentially saying is that he could only control what he can do in the gym. He can't control what the other guys are going to be doing in the gym. He can't control how they're going to look like in the gym. See, so let's focus. I think for me, the takeoff for that was that we need to focus on the things that we cannot control, that we can control. What can we control? What you can control is the amount of work that you put into your success. Your success is not determined by anybody else but yourself. I mean, nobody can compete with you in terms of hard work. Okay, we all have the same advantages as far as hard work comes. So there are some that are born from good families that have got the good background, but the only thing that you have an advantage of is the amount of work you can put them. They can do anything to you, but if they don't outwork you, then you can be better than them. That is if you're competing. So that was the takeoff from there. I think that was very interesting for me. Control what you can and don't focus on what you can't control. Ronnie Coleman couldn't control what the other guys were doing in their training. He could control how much he could squat, how much he can deadlift, and all that. So focus on what you can control. All right, so let's get back to trading now. Just thought that was very interesting. So let's get back to Euro US dollar and the dollar index correlation. Somebody says he cannot hear me well. Is there anybody who has got a problem with sound? And I'm guessing that there may be a problem on his side. Anybody else? Okay, so it's good everywhere else. So Kumalo may need to. His name says virus, so you may have a virus on your side. Virus Kumalo. Interesting. So let's get started. Euro US dollar and the dollar index. Let's look at this correlation. Right, before we look at this correlation, let's do a bit of a recap of what we were doing in the group on some of the setups that we looked at. I'm going to look into this, my channel on our Slack. This is what we do in our Slack group, by the way. I've just made a summary of some of the trades that we looked at in the last couple of weeks. So if you remember on, Pound Audi, we wanted to get this pullback, which is the X. If you go look at the charts, this is what we've got now. So we just need to check how this is going to play out now, because this has actually not done this move. It has actually made this move like this and pushed up a bit, and now coming back with this deep correction. So we're gonna update how this is gonna go, how we're gonna focus this going forward. During the analysis. This was just a recap. So we were expecting this deep correction here and a push higher to give us this Z move. Actually, there's an error here. If anybody has noticed, there was an error with this chart here. Let me just show you where the error is. If you know anything about wave analysis, you'll see that there's a degree missing here. If you look at this red here, let's look at the red. If you look at the red, 1, 2, 3 there, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 there, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 there, you've got 1, 2, 3 there. If this is the case, under every red degree, above every red degree, there's a yellow degree WXY. See? So here, 1, 2, 3, you need to have a W and a X and a Y before we get this coming down. So we had missed a degree there. This cannot be the Z. That Z can only be there, which means the cycle there is incomplete. Okay, but we'll update this as we go. Okay. If you are detailed and you've noticed that, then well done, you're seeing the charts correctly. So last week we spoke about this. I said during the webinar that we were looking at this based on what the dollar index was doing. This is the Euro US dollar when we're around this area. This structure was not clear on Euro US dollar, but we could clearly see what the dollar index was doing. This was 2 weeks back, by the way. Okay, so it took 2 weeks just to make this move to around this area. So we could see clearly what the dollar index was doing, and if you go check your charts, you'll see that we've had now this move to the downside here. It has not tagged this top yet, and it looked like it made an impulsive move to the upside, but that impulse does not mean anything at this stage. So what I said last week was that when you are in a sideways correction like this, right, so you can only trade the next move. You can see here forecasted 1, 2, 3 moves. Okay, so as soon as you go to the third move, this becomes the accuracy becomes very low, but with the next immediate move can be very accurate because you've got all the data that tells you what the next move is. You'll see with most of the charts, the next move, you almost get the next move right because you've got enough data and you've got enough pieces of the puzzle to tell you that you're coming for whether you're going to go up or down. So this is Euro US dollar. That's how that one played out. It is now pushed down to this level. Just missed this by a measly few pips. Let's see if we're still going to push lower. We'll see with the analysis. That is Euro US dollar. Let's look at the DXY as well. Okay, so this was just this was still euro US dollar. This was on the daily chart, so you can see that was the piece up that we got last week, 2 weeks back. We got this piece to the upside and then the drop to the downside, as we had anticipated. This is the current move that we've got now around this area. It has now come down to this area. So we'll update whether we're going to get a bounce here and down, or whether this is now going to go straight for a wave 5, because it can play out both ways. So let's see how that one plays out. But you can see that the forecast and the next immediate move we get almost every single time, right? That is a euro US dollar. And the next one here, what do we have here? This is the dollar index. So the dollar index is the one that had a clearer structure. We had 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, and then we just wanted to get a 3 to the upside. We had also had nice divergence. Posted this in our groups that we are looking for this one to give us a move to the upside. We have now come up to this move. Also, like euro US dollar has missed this by a measly few pips. It doesn't mean that is the end of the cycle. We don't know yet. It may still. It has now made a bit of a pass to the downside, but that may still touch there. Let's see how that goes. We'll update with the analysis. But we have got this move to the upside now. All of this around this area, as we expected, we've got. You can check your charts, right? And then pound US dollar as well. We expected that we're going to have this move. So you see, the next immediate move is always easy to focus. I don't have to get all these 3, because even if I get out around this area and the structure has changed, I know I would have gotten this piece of the puzzle. Then it will tell me whether we're going to go continue to the downside or whether we're going to go up. Okay, so the next immediate piece of the puzzle is always easier to determine, especially when you are in a correction. So we've got this move here on pound US dollar, and it has actually pushed a little bit lower than that. So let's see, we'll update how this is going to go, whether we're going to get 1, 2, 3 there with a move there and a 1, 2, 3 there before we drop, or whether this is going to drop from here. But we'll update that as we do the analysis. Right, so that is pound US dollar. Now, interesting, this one was posted. This is pound JPY. I posted this a couple of days back. This was in, let me just check the date there. This was, no, this now. I just copied this one now. I just want to see when I posted this. This was in July. So we discussed this during this webinars in July. I posted this in July, 23rd July, by the way. So we had this move that was busy correcting here. We got all of this move. We've now got, if we look here, let's see here. You've got now 1, 2, 3 to the downside correction here, and this yellow correction. So we also now got this move here, and we got this one here where we were not sure whether what was going to happen, whether this was going to push up higher or whether it was going to drop for another one. So we can now see that we're getting this drop here to the downside. So we will update what we think is going to happen from here. Okay, so let's see if we're going to get this push to the upside. I will update this. So you can see that this is on the daily chart. We're now almost around this 143 area. So 1, 2, 3 moves have played out so far. So let's update as we go along. That is pound JPY. This was just a 4-hour chart detailing that move to the upside, detailing that we're going to go drop, we're going to go up. If we go look around July, we had this move here, which pushed up here. We made a down move here. We now made this one here that has been dropping from last week, and we are now here on this move. So let's see how that goes. So the forecast on the daily was simply that we are going to get this one and we're going to get this one to the downside. But we know that the market does not go in a straight line. That is why you're getting a move down, a move up. But we can understand why we're getting a move up and down and down. Okay. So that is how you look at the market. If you cannot see the whole structure clearly, the next immediate move will have enough data to tell you where you are going next. And that makes it a little bit easier to trade. All right. So now let's go into the analysis. We'll update all these setups as we go along. If there's any more that I did not discuss here, we'll look at them as we look at the charts. So now we've got Euro US dollar and the DXY in one chart. Just do this here. Euro US dollar and the dollar index in one chart. That is the 4-hour chart. So let's see where we are now. Where we are right now, if we just look on this one. Let me just do this. I'm just going to look on the 4-hour. I'll look at the overall structure when we look at an individual chart. Let's see how that one plays out. Okay, so this is what we had last week. This is where the drop came from. This is what happened. Now you can see that this did not take this low as we expected. It did not take that low. It missed it by a few pips. It looks like we've got some kind of impulse here. Looks like we've got some kind of impulse, but it's not a convincing impulse. Same here also, it did not take this level here. If you look here, this is the level that we wanted it to take. It did not touch there, and now looks like it's making this impulse to the downside. But is this the reversal? It is not clear at all for now. It cannot tell us anything. The only confirmation you'll need is for this to correct and start going up with that move. Then we'll know that this structure here in this channel has now ended, and now we're ready to go up. Similarly here, we're gonna have this structure here ending. Let's not do that. Let's just switch off here. Then we'll know that this structure here also in this channel would have ended, and we're ready for a move to the downside. Okay, but I'm anticipating, it doesn't matter what I want, I'm anticipating that we're gonna get one more here to come and retest this low before we reverse up and go retest the top. Similarly here, I'm expecting that we're gonna come retest the top here. Let's do it properly. We're gonna retest this top here, break it before we come and retest this level here. Okay, so two things are going to happen. Now you're going to see when we look at Euro US dollar single chart. I think let's look at both charts individually. Then it's going to be a lot clearer the structure that we're looking at. Let's go into Euro US dollar first, or but rather let's start with the DXY. Start with the DXY one chart. All right, so let's have a look. So the DXY, the full structure, this is the US dollar index. This is the full structure that you have there. Right, so this is what we're looking at. So this is why we wanted the DXY to push up higher, because of this structure. We are in wave 3, we are in wave this wave here. So there's two things that could happen here, whether there's a possibility that this is starting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete a wave 5 from here. Okay, or rather we are now still going to be in a sideways consolidation where we're going to have this one becoming a wave 4, a flat correction in wave 4 before we go for a 5. So this is why this area here is very critical. So we will see what the puzzle gives us at this area. If we get a pulsing move to the downside with a correction, then you know that you're going to come and back and retest this level here. Retesting this level will be a clear indication that we're going to have a very nice trade to the upside to go and complete a wave 5 around that area. So that's what we're going to look at. You can see that we've got a very nice structure here in the red degree. Let's look at the red degree. We've got a clear 1, 2, a clear 1, 2 there, and then you've got internally a green degree there. As you can see, 1. Let's do it clearly. You've got 1, 2, 3, and this textbook running flat. A running flat looks something like this. I just didn't label it there. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so a running flat breaks the previous high. Your B breaks the previous high. A, B, C, D, E, and then you can see that we pushed higher for the last wave 5 in green. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in green. This is the 5 in green, and now we started now the red correction. You can see here, this is the red correction. Is this the 4 and we're ready to go, or is the 4 going to be this one, making it a regular flat? I'm anticipating that the 4 will be this one. If you know anything about the rule of alternation, when you've got a sharp wave 2, you expect to have a sideways wave 4 before you get a wave 5. So that is why I'm more inclined to this move coming back here before we go up, instead of this one correcting here and pushing higher. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at. Whichever one comes, we'll see what the puzzle gives us. So we'll look out for this area. Euro US dollar is exactly the opposite. What you're looking at here, running triangle. I don't know if I said something different. It's actually supposed to be a running triangle, guys. Did I say something different? Okay, so it was supposed to be a running triangle. If I said something different, I know I get very excited and I miss some things and I say some things wrong while I'm looking at something different. But that's okay. Let's get on with this. So now you see the euro US dollar is actually, oh yes, okay, it's not a running flat, running triangle. Thanks, Faizan. You guys are in the group, so you know these things. Great stuff. Thank you. It's supposed to be a running triangle and not a running flat on the DXY. Thanks, guys. Right. So let's look at this one. So on euro US dollar, this is what you looked at here. We're looking at this one here. This could be this wave 4, or this wave 4 in red can actually be here, and we're ready to go. But this has gone down. This has gone down in 3 waves. So that is why I'm more inclined to get this one coming back to retest this level here before we go, giving us a regular flat there. Right. So if you look at this one here, it's exactly the same thing here in the whole structure. Let's just look at the whole structure. What we're looking at here. You will see that we've got a 1 and a 2 there, and then we've got this green degree that gives 1, 2, 3. So that running triangle on the DXY was happening at the same time as this contracting triangle on euro US dollar. Perfect correlation there. A, B, C, D, E was happening exactly at the same time. This was a wave 4 in green and the last wave 5 in green. Now we started these red corrections, exactly the same as the dollar index. As you can see that 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 back. We just wanted this to take this. This can even break the low here, guys, and make an expanding flash. So if it's breaking here, don't immediately jump here and think that it's going over for a wave 5, because it can just break here and go back up here and even break this one here and give you an expanding flat. So it's all possible there to get those structure. But let's look at the next immediate move, what we're going to get from there. Right, so very clear structure on euro US dollar. The next puzzle will determine the direction clearly on what we're going to get. But I am more inclined, first alternative, for this one to come retest here and break out and return and reverse to the top. Whether it breaks first or whether it just touches, then it's either way, it's okay. Okay, so all of that, just in terms of the structure, just for completeness, if we get this, if we get that shing, that whole shing, that will be completing this wave A, and we'll be looking for a bounce in wave B. We've been looking for this bounce here, from here thinking that this was a wave 5, so it looks like this completing a wave 5 here will still have that bounce, and if we get that bounce, then you're going to have another big trade to the downside. Right, so let's get on with the rest of the pairs. Pound US dollar. Pound US dollar, let's switch off here. We had this swing to the downside here. Never had a correction as deep as this one before we got to this level. And I said before this correction started, I said, if we don't get a correction like this one here, that means that this move is going to cut through all the way. Let's go to the daily quickly. Let's just quickly go to the daily. I said, if we don't get a deeper correction like this one, this move will go straight like that and even break this low. But now we've got this move here. We've got this correction here. And that means if this comes here to this level, it's not going to break it. It's going to bounce, because this is no longer an impulsive move. We were looking at this one as a three-wave move. If you look at this structure that we've had for the longest time, it is still valid. This three-wave move here in purple that you see here as W, as X, as Y, an AB-based pattern, and a drop here in this wave. Now we're getting this correction. So let's come to this correction and see what's going on with the correction. Let's go for our switch off. We're looking at this blue X correction here. So that is what we've been looking at for the last couple of days since September. This correction has been forming, and we've been looking at this like this. So we were looking at this one to make a three-wave move to the upside, which it did. So we made 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 up. So we were thinking here that this was going to happen 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So after this, expected another 1, 2, 3 that was just going to break this low and reverse from here and give us this structure. Okay, so if this is the structure, then this will be a WXY move, and then we're going to drop from here. Somebody was even was telling me about the structure, that the Gartley pattern that they're looking at here. But you must remember, in terms of the patterns, these harmonic patterns, as much as I use them, sometimes they must follow structure. Okay, this looks like a nice Gatli pattern if we do this. Exclude the clutter on the chart, guys. Let's just clear everything here first. As much as this one looks like a perfect Gatli around the 78, it doesn't mean anything if the structure is not agreeing with the same. So this would be a perfect Gatli if this happens from here. But we need more confirmation other than just a Gatli pattern. We look at the structure. So let's look at the structure and see the possibilities that we can get from this. Right, so let's switch this off here. So we are now in the blue box here. Supposed to get this 1, 2, 3 here. That was the same as this 1, 2, 3. Okay, and a pullback 1, 2, 3 from there. Okay, so this will make this one a WXY structure, and then we drop. Either that or this has started the move down. Okay, we'll talk about the move down shortly. Initially, we were thinking that this was going to make a clear 1, 2, 3 move up, a 1, 2, 3 back, and we were going to get a 1, 2, 3 up and a 1, 2 back, and then this one, which was going to be a WXY move. Okay, so we expected a shallow reversal from this. So this goes again to show about that immediate move, whether it's going to be a corrective move or an impulsive move. You're always going to know the next immediate move when you're looking at the structure. So this did not happen. So that's when we switched to this one coming to drop here around this level. So now if that is another possibility for that is for this to be like this. So remember, when you change a string or change a alternative on the last piece of the string, you must look at the whole structure. So in here, if we are looking for this to go all the way down from here, that means the structure will be this one here. Let's check here. You would have had a corrective structure, not like that. Let's get the different color. You would have had a structure like this, 1, 2, 3, and now we're starting to drop with 1, 2, 3. Now somebody can ask me, why do we have a 1 that is in 3 waves? This is not a 3-wave move. That could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal. So which means that you've got a wave 1 that is a diagonal, wave 1, 2, and then we're going to be going for a 3 that is going to be at the 1,618 somewhere below there. So what we need to look at now is how this behaves at current levels. This is the 78 of a Gatli. This is the blue box of A, 1, 2, 3 bounce. This is in the mid of wave 3. So how are you going to know all these alternatives? You're going to know by what is going to happen at current levels. So at current levels, you get a pulse up here. Gatli is going to play out, as well as the 3-wave structure is going to play out. That will eliminate the third possibility, and then you're going to have this one coming down here and eliminate the other possibilities. So for this one here, you need to wait and see what you're going to get. Not clear at this stage on pound, but we'll see what the other pound pairs are doing, and then this will give us direction in terms of what is happening on pound US dollar. Right, let's look at US dollar CAD now. Right, so US dollar CAD, we've been looking at this one for the last couple of days now. We will be looking for this one to push higher into the blue box. Last week, we looked at this one here. Actually, we started with the week before. After this one made this this correction here, we wanted it to push into this blue box. Actually, the blue box was around here for this one. Right, so this one dropped deeper, then made a new impulse here. Also last week we looked at this one to give us a push higher into the this blue box, which it did not reach at this stage. Okay, so now we need to see what is going to happen from here, whether we're going to have one more drop to the downside or whether this is going to carry on to the blue box from here. So this is what I'm looking at now. I'm going to switch off here. I think we may get, it missed the blue box by a measly few pips here. Let's see. Came here, was not supposed to reach the blue box and give us a deeper correction, but it did not get there. So if it's failing to get there and it's making an impulsive move in the opposite direction, let's see what we could get here in this structure and how we can look at this structure. All right, let's switch this off. So we had this one here. I think I showed in detail how this was playing out last week. You have a 3-wave move down and a corrective structure, and now this could play out as another 1, 2, 3-wave move down, making this a 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there, 1. Let me clear this one out. Let me actually clear everything. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in this degree. So that means you have a 3-wave move here. 1, 2, 3. You've got a zigzag in combination with a possible another zigzag here, with possibly another zigzag or a regular flat. So even if you get one more down from here, if this structure breaks to the downside, you will still have this one that we are looking for. So it means that we are not going to get it here. So let's see the next immediate move, what we're going to get from here. We've got an impulsive move down, not confirmed as yet. Let's see what we're going to get. If this starts correcting here now, you get a corrective structure here, then we know that we're going to possibly come back and retest this level at least. Okay, or rather we can just have this one making this 3-wave move, and then we still push up higher with the structure that we're looking at. But this is actually contracting, making what looks like a diagonal. So let's just show here. Looks like we're making a diagonal here. So it could be it's actually a channel, not a diagonal, but rather a channel. So let's see what we're gonna get. We're gonna see what we're gonna get from here. It's not even a diagonal, but it's starting to slow down. Maybe a V pattern from there. If it's a V pattern from there, we're gonna get a 1, 2, 3 wave move down before we push higher. Maybe not this one coming to the 61 of that, and then we're gonna then look to push higher. Otherwise, what we look at is for this to come and retest this level before we push higher with that move. Just remember why we're looking for that move to the upside. Show you why we want that move to the upside. Even if it's going to give us one more down, the reason why we want that one more up is because of this. Let's switch everything off here so we don't clutter the chart with the numbers. We are looking for this structure here. If you look at this, I think I showed this last week here. We've got this 1, 2, 3 move. Okay, let's see here. 1, 2, 3 there. 1, 2, 3 there. Okay, I just want there. Moves up. We had 1, 2, W, X, Y, X, Z. Same here. W, X, Y, X, Z. That's why we're looking for the Z. See here, we play when we go to the Z, we call it the 10 lot size trade in our group, 1,300 pips to the downside from the Z, because you know Elliott only identified triple corrections. So we'll look for this one to break up here and go for a Z. After the Z, we're expecting a bigger move similar to this to the downside. So that's why we're tracking this one very closely, because it's going to pay off very well when it starts playing out. Now, if you look at the end, this structure and this structure are almost identical. Let's check this one here. If you look at this last drop here, 1, 2, 3, this is the current one that we were looking at. It's exactly the same as this one here. Okay, and if you look at this one that has not played out yet, this one in green here, is what I'm looking for to happen here. If it happens from here, I'm looking for it to happen here before we drop. Okay, we already have this one. We already have this one there. Okay, we have this one here. 1, 2, 3, which is this one here. 1, 2, 3. We already have 1, 2, 3 there. We already have this one is a 1, 2, 3, the first one, and the correction here. So almost identical structures. And if it plays out here, we get this 3-wave move to the upside. We will be looking for this big move to the downside, and this will make this big corrective structure here for another move to the upside. Now we're focusing over 2 or 3 years ahead. So let's see how this one plays out. We are now currently in a possible down move from here, but let's see how this one plays out. If we start getting a corrective structure here, then that will be a 1, 2, 3 up correction, and another 1, 2, 3 up, which is now what we're looking at. That will be the Z, and then we drop. Okay, so let's see. We'll update this and see how this plays out. Right. That is USDCAD. Let's move on quickly with the rest. USDCHF. USDCHF, we're still in the big triangle. Not triangle, rather a diagonal. Okay, you can see that we're looking for this to go to a wave 5. We have now made an A and a B, and we're looking for this one to just carry on with the move. Whatever happens here, any pullback will just be a corrective structure, but we'll be looking for this one to go all the way. Now let's look in the 4-hour. Looks like we're getting a bit of a pullback here. So if euro starts pushing up higher with the move that we're discussing now. That means that this will maybe make a pullback. Let's correct this. This will make a pullback, as we can see that we already have an impulse here on the 4-hour one. This may start making a correction and then the pullback, something like this. When it's done, we're going to expect this to continue to the upside. Okay, so this may even make a diagonal here, but it's going to look a very slow diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3 down before we go. Okay, so let's see how that one is going to play out. So that diagonal will do this. If we get a diagonal here, that will be a 1, that will be a 2, that will be a 3, that will be a 4, that will be a 5, and that will give us another corrective structure that will take us all the way to wave 5, making this a 3-wave move as well. The whole thing being a 3-wave move to the upside. So let's watch this one here. It's going slowly now, like this, like a diagonal. So that diagonal does not mean it's gonna drop. It means that we're gonna have a corrective structure, and if we get a corrective structure, it's just gonna take it all the way up, making this a 1, a correction, and a 3-wave move to the upside. Simple as that. So wait for what is gonna happen here. You can even trade these short moves if you like. Right, so that's USDCHF AUD. AUD US dollar. Okay, AUD US dollar, we're still looking for this one to come down. We're looking for this one to come down to this level, to the blue box. This is our blue box. Okay, so now I said when you got to this level that we need to get a corrective structure around this level. We got this corrective structure. Let's just show it in the 4-hour. This corrective structure is now getting a little bit complex. 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting this one here. Maybe another 1 here, 2, 3 there before we drop, making this a regular flat with 3, 3 impulse and a move to the downside. Yes, you're going to get a move to the upside here. I don't think this is the overall reversal, but from current levels, if you get a correction over during market, or if correction starts when the market opens, possibly build a correction during the Asian session here, then you can take it up to this level. When it touches this level, you move your stop to break even and see if it's going to go all the way, or rather it's going to go down to the blue box before it goes. Okay, so you don't want to miss this one from here, because this could be the end of the cycle. We already have divergence here, but divergence does not mean reversal. Remember, divergence means you are around the reversal area, or it means anytime we're going to get a reversal, and we want this to come down into the blue box. So, but missing the blue box by a few pips doesn't mean anything. It can do that. So we've got divergence. Look at this one here. We made a wall low. This one made a high. Okay, made a low, made a high. So let's see how that one plays out. If we get a correction here, take it, take the trade, move to break even when it touches here, because from here it can do this first before it goes, or it can correct from here. Correcting here is a good sign that we are ready to reverse. Okay, so when you reverse there, that means this will be the structure that would have ended. If we just do the boundaries here, let's do that, switch off there. That means that this boundary here, this corrective structure here, this channel here, remember we don't trade trend lines, this would have ended. Now, another thing about trend line is that this could actually do this, give you an expanding flat and drop here. Some people are gonna call it a false breakout. It's not a false breakout, it's just the structure and the way the market moves. And that's what that's what we're gonna be expecting. It comes here, breaks the low. It's breaking the low and then pushes higher. Why will it be breaking the low? Because you're following the overall structure. That's not how you draw that. This is how you draw this. Let's do that cleanly. And this is how you have this. So if you're trading trend lines, you'll see that this will do something like this. Let's do the top one as well. You'll find that this does this, breaks, and then you want to buy, comes back down, breaks, you want to sell, comes back up, and now it starts going. You've lost 1, 2 trades, and then it goes in the direction that you were looking for in the first place. So that's what happens if you don't look at the structure and you look at trend lines and support and resistances. Okay, So I'm not trading these lines, I'm trading the structure that is internal here. That is why you see with the labeling there. Okay, we're looking for this to come back down, giving us this structure. That will be another lower degree WXY move into the blue box before we drop, before we go up. Okay, so that's Audi, New Zealand. Let's look at New Zealand. So New Zealand, same. New Zealand has made, right here, we're still looking for one more down. Let's switch off here. We want, it has made a one up, it has made a three wave back, it has made an impulse here. So in the New Zealand and the Audi, we're gonna get a bounce. So if this is confirming that in the next coming sessions, we're gonna have a bit of a weakness in the US dollar, even though that can be short term. So we're gonna bounce up at least minimum to this level. Let's see what we get here. It can be this corrective structure that does this, and then the last drop before the US dollar strength resumes. Okay. That is New Zealand, and also let's look at the ZAR as well, US dollar ZAR. US dollar ZAR playing out exactly as we anticipated. Last week I gave two possibilities, and both of them were the same bias. Right, so we had this one coming here at the top. This was the orthodox top. We had a 1, 2, 3 down. We had a pullback here. Let's just show the labeling here quickly. Okay, we had the three wave move down after that big move, after that big impulsive move to the 1580 area. Now we're having this WXY move. So what the two alternatives I gave was whether this X was going to be shallow and move up for a Y, or whether it's going to be deep like this and then move to the upside. Okay, so now it looks like it made a deeper one, has made this one. So this looks like a three wave pullback, and we may still get further weakness in the US dollar against the US dollar ZAR. Okay, so let's see how this one plays out. So the overall structure that you're gonna be looking at, so there's too many possibilities here of how this corrective structure may play out from here. Okay, so this is what could happen. We've got a pulsing move down, a correction, we can have a move to the downside. That would make this structure one, let's do that, 1, 2, let's use a different color. Let's use purple, 1, 2, which is this three wave correction, and then a 3. Now that will make this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in red, and another possible 1, 2, 3 before we push higher, making this a big correction, which is what we expect, because from right at the bottom, we've not had a big correction like that. See here, we've not had a deeper correction, so that is what we want. We want this to give us a deeper correction, something like this that pushes higher, 1, 2, 3, even that. Either way, we're going to see which corrective structure we're going to get on the ZAR. We've made a 1, 2, 3 up. All we want now is a 1, 2, 3 back, and another maybe 1, 2, 3. So still further weakness in the US dollar ZAR, but for now we are going to be sideways for some time and accumulate around this area. Okay, so that's US dollar ZAR. Now, so what is the next immediate move from here? Let's see. In the 4 hour, this looks like it's going to drop. Looks like it's going to drop eventually, at least even if it's for a three wave move. So look out for that drop in the next coming sessions. Right, that is all the US dollar pairs. Now let's look at the yen pairs. Pound JPY, we just discussed this one. Pound JPY, we looked at this one during the trade recap. Let's see the labelings there. Right, now let's just look at the last piece on this one. So this one, we've made 1, 2, 3 down. You've made a correction in 3 waves, 1, 2, 3. And now we're looking for this one to give us another expanding flat here. This can be, this looks like a pulsing move. So you may not get a deeper correction here. You'll just get shallow corrections. You'll just get shallow corrections until you come down all the way to this level, because it's supposed to be 335. Which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Obviously, you need to look into the structure in the lower degree to see the 5-wave structure on this. Okay. So that's what you're going to be looking at, a pulsing move here, and look what happens when you get down to this level. Break below this level, and then we start pushing higher. Okay, because then that move, this cycle here would have ended this correction for an up. So what do you want here? You want lower degree corrections, lower degree corrections, lower degree corrections up until this level. You're gonna start looking for upside. So now, if this is a 5-wave structure, you will see towards between 3 and 5 that you will have divergence on the RSI when you get to the bottom here. Okay, your RSI should give you a clear divergence when it starts getting to this level. Right now, there's nothing, but that divergence should be for only this swing. Okay, that's pound JPY, US dollar JPY. US dollar JPY, switch off there, see what happened here. We've got an ABC move that we looked at last week here, a 3-wave correction. 1, 2. Now we had this one breaking the low here. Looks like it's gonna retest this top here before we get another move to the downside here. And that will make this 3-wave correction. Maybe something similar to this before we get another push higher. Okay, so if we get those 3 that move like that, that will make this a WXYXZ structure. 1, 2, 3, not like that. Let's see here. This possibly becoming a running flat. Let me see here first if this qualifies to be a running flat still. Let's do that. Let's just check it quickly. If it still qualifies to be a running flat, let's check the 138 and the 105 here. Need to check it quickly if it complies, if it's still valid. Let's see. This one is it's exactly the 138 there. So these can still be a running flat. Can still be a running flat there, and you could still have this one as a move like that back to that C. So this will make this, let's switch off there. This will make 1, 2. We should actually have 3 waves here as well. Let's look here. We should actually have 3 waves, but we've got 5 here. I think let's just look at this. Let's just look at the last piece here and what we're gonna get from here. We'll check, we'll relate the rest when we come next week. We'll relate the rest from there. Let's check what we can get here. So we've got this 1, 2, 3. We're looking at this correction after this move to the downside. It made another 1, 2, 3, breaks the top and reversed from here. You can see that we're already here now. If we get a correction here, we'll be looking to take this top, to retest this top here. Okay, retesting this top may reverse from here and make this an ABC structure. So look out for this correction here in the next week. Let's go 1 hour. Let's go 1 hour. So in the 1 hour, if you start getting a corrective structure here, this will push higher. But just a short move. Remember that higher is only up to this level. We are only looking for it to come back to this level, not all the way up. It's possible it can go all the way up. That's why you need to take it here. And when it gets to this level, you move your stop to break even and see what happens here, whether you're going to get a pulsing move to the downside or whether you're going to get a correction to come and retest this level here. Okay. Right, so that is US dollar JPY, euro. But 4 weeks back, I did the daily charts showing that, okay, this is what I showed. We're looking for this pullback here. So now this does not look like just a pullback anymore. Okay, we're showing these pullbacks. If you look at 4 weeks ago webinar on this pairs, when we did the daily webinars, we were just looking for this to be a pullback and then a move to the upside. So it doesn't look like it's just going to be a pullback, but we need to see how that plays out. Now let's go into the 4 hour here, because what we have here is an interesting structure. You've got this 3-wave move to the downside now. You've got this 1, 2, 3 waves up here. And now you've got the first piece here of the wave, which is this. That first piece now looks like this one. We've made this one. It looks like it's that one. So we may still get this one. We may still get this one and this one and this one, making this a big correction like that. Okay, so let's see if we get a deeper correction here. We're going to take it for one last one to the downside. Should break below that before we go. Okay, so for now, let's look for continuation. Euro may be a little bit strong in the next coming session, so this may also have an effect on EURJPY. Let's look at the daily. Just want to check the daily here. So the daily here, okay, we've got this move here. So this is the one down, this is the correction. This can be the move to the downside that we're looking at here. So it can come and do that or give us one up here, or this could be all the way down to this level. It could be all the way down to this level to come and make this structure like that. That will now come retest this level, making this a big corrective structure. Remember, we are correcting this. And this is how we look at this. We're correcting this whole string. So if this becomes a big correction like this, that's still okay. So this can come here, retest there, come back down. And once that is done, we'll look for this one to come in, do that, because this will be a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, which is that one, which is this one, and down. So this is focusing about a year or two ahead, but the next immediate move is here. Let's see what we get from here. And this is a number of pips, so a couple of 100 pips to the downside if we get that move. Right. That's Euro Yen Chief JPY. Chief JPY. See, normally, when I give those the so-called 10 lot size trades, after that correction, we get a big move to the downside. And I'll show you what we did with AUDUSD as well. So here we're looking at this one to make this one 1, 2, 3 down here. It looks like it's making another 3 wave up here, and we're gonna need to get another 3 and then another down. So that makes 1, 2, 3, making this a WXY move, correcting this swing. So we're gonna need to get a deeper correction at some point. Okay, this correct. When I say deeper correction, it does not have to be a straight line like this. That correction can be something like this. It can be something like this. It can be something like this. It can be anything. It can be a triangle. Okay, so when I show a correction here, I'll just show it with overlapping candles, but that's not how it's going to play out. You need to understand how this works out and how this plays out and the size in which it plays out as. And that means you need to understand the whole cycle and the degree of the cycle. And those are the things that you understand, that you learn when you do the course. You cannot just come and look at the last piece. Let's see what we get here. Then we'll update. Corrective structure and more continuation to the downside. That's Chief, Audi, JPY. AUDJPY V pattern that you're getting here towards the end, we are going to have this bouncing up in 3 waves very soon. We're going to have that one bouncing up in 3 waves very soon. You can see that you already have divergence starting here. We've got divergence, clear divergence that is starting up right at the bottom here. Look what happened here. You made from here to there a low and a low, a lower low, right? And from here to the same point, you made a high. So a lower low, a higher low. So you can see that this will soon reverse to the upside. Obviously, you need not just look at the divergence, you need to look at the whole structure and why we want that downside. We're looking for this 3-wave structure here. We've got a pulse move here. We're looking for this one here. So similar to Audi that we want a 1 up, even on AUDJPY, you can see the correlation. We want 1 more up before we come down. If we go to the 4-hour, you'll see that exactly what we're looking at on this one is correlates with Audi US dollar. So remember, the market does not work in isolation. The whole market is correlated somehow. Obviously, some pairs have got more correlation than the other. So that's why we look at the correlation strength, and we've got guys in our group who helps us with the calculation of the correlation strength, because they have attended the correlation seminar as part of the course as well. So you see here we've got a pulse, we've got a 3-wave up, we've got 3-wave down. Same as Audi US dollar has broken this low here, you're getting this one having broken the low and reversing up here. So correction, and we look for this one to retest this level here before we get one last one to the downside. Very clear structures. So let's see how that plays out. New Zealand should be the same. So New Zealand, you can see you already have an impulse to the upside here. The only difference is that we've got we've got this corrective structure, you've got a pulse here. Let's see if we're going to get a call passing move and retest the top here for one down. Okay, so that's all the yen pairs. Now let's look at gold and silver. Silver and gold. Right, so gold eventually, finally, made that structure that we wanted into the blue box, has gone into the blue box, and you can see what has been happening in the blue box. Every time it touches the blue box, it just reverses. This was the first touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch. Now it looks like we're making a wedge into the blue box. This will start making a V pattern, and then we're going to expect a drop. You see how powerful this wave analysis is. So this is no confirmation for upside at all. We've been looking for this structure to come into the blue box and reverse from 2 months back already. We have looked at this structure. Okay, look where this started around August. Even from August, beginning of August, we were only simply looking for this to be a correction and drop. Okay, so it does not mean that we're going to be right. So, but let's check. But this is playing out so far. It is exactly what we anticipated. And when it starts doing this, this is even more confirmation that we're going to get a drop. Okay. So let's keep an eye. Let's watch and see how this one plays out. Somebody commented on the video last week, said everybody else who posts their charts or views in public is expecting gold to go all the way back up to the 280 area. Well, that is all possible, but I'm not going to do my analysis based on what everybody is seeing. I do my analysis based on what I see in the structure, because I don't make the decision. I've learned the strategy, I've learned the theory, and if the theory tells me we're going to get one more down, that's what I'm going to look at. If I'm wrong and I'm reading it wrong, then that's okay. That's part of trading. You don't get them all, right? So far, this is more clear for one more down before we go up. And that's because we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5 before we then reverse. Right, so that's gold, silver. Silver, nothing new. That correction is still going on. WX, we're still looking for this one to make a Y there. Okay, so you've got this one is a 1, 2, 3 there. 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2. This is going to be one last one on silver before we drop. So you can see that we're going to have that yellow degree, which is WXY. And then we look at that one to go down. And that will be that corrective structure. So even if we get one push up higher, we're still looking for this to come back to the 1350 area. Not all the way, only the 1350 area around here. Okay, let's see how that plays out. That's silver. Right, pound pairs. Let's look at the pound pairs. I think we're running a bit behind now. Let's look at pound AUD first. Pound AUD. Pound AUD. So last week we looked at this 3-wave move to the downside. It made a 1, 2, 3-wave move to the downside, and we wanted it to go from there. Okay, instead it made a double correction. So which means you had here 1, 2, 3. That's clear. You had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It means it's going to make another 1, 2, 3. Let's see how that plays out when it gets to that level. So that would be a 1, that would be a 2, that would be a 3. WXY, move from there. Remember the deep correction we wanted? This is the deep correction that we wanted. Are we going to get a push higher from there? So let's see if we get this last piece to the downside here. Okay, and see how this one is going to play out from around this level in the new blue box, which is this one, making this one a deeper one, higher degree, like that. Simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. We'll see how that plays out. Okay, we had one of those take 10 lot size trades from this level here. this over 100 pips here because of one of those WXY moves that we're looking at there. So let's see. Also, you need to also look at the possibility that this cycle could have ended, and it looks similar all around with all the pairs. So this is what we all need to note. And the reason why I want this to push up for one high, you'll see this because we've got this one here. And it does not have to do that. We'll update and see how this one goes. We've got a three-wave move up, a three-wave back, a three-wave move up, and a three-wave back. We also have this three-wave move to the upside. But this three-wave move to the upside is the same size as this. It's the same size as this. So that's why I want this one to give me that, so that then it will be the right degree for one. But nothing stops this from having completed here. So it could have completed here and we're ready for all the way to this level. But we'll have to see and update that. We'll have to see what the next immediate move is going to be from where we are now, because this looks like a deep correction. Let's see how that plays out from there. And if you note here, you'll see that you also see that this corrects with very sharp move. This pair has got a tendency to correct with very sharp move, like this one. Look here, this is a very sharp move, and this could be the same thing. So it can do that. You see what happens here? It starts slowing down with a V pattern. Here also a possibility of this coming down with a V pattern and starts giving us that deeper one that the three-wave move that we're looking at. And now this will be the right size as that. Okay, but it does not have to give us that. So which means we need to watch what we get here. A correction for further downside, we'll take it. Okay, that is pound Audi, pound CHF, same. We need to focus on this last piece of the correction, these pullbacks and these corrective structures. Let's look at pound CHF. Pound CHF as well. So pound CHF, we looked at this one as a 1, 2, 3-wave move, and now this 3-wave move that actually no, that's not what we looked at. We looked at this pound CHF as a 5-wave move like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry. We looked at this one as a 1, 2, 3-wave move, and a 1, 2, 3-wave move, and we expected to get one more up like that. Okay, it does not look like it's going to give us that one more up. Let's see what you're going to get from here. A corrective structure, and maybe retest here and give us a structure like this. Okay, remember also this one I said, if we don't get a deeper correction like this, that means this will, like pound US dollar, will just come straight here. So if you're getting this deep correction here, that means that this will not push through here with this move, but rather will bounce up first before we come back. So now what is the next move to trade here is to get a corrective structure in the lower degree here in the 1 hour and take it back to this level. Same with all the pound pairs. We're still bearish in the next week. That is pound CHF, pound CAD, pound CAD as well. I'm looking on the dailies now. Okay, we looked at this one as a 3-wave move, and we're gonna get a 1, 2, 3 pullback before we get another move to the upside, giving us this structure. Okay, but now it looks like this has, and this is the reason why I didn't like this. It looks like a pulsing move, and a pulsing move. I don't like corrections that goes in pulsing moves, but this has played out as a correction regardless. Okay, so we're now looking at this one to come down in 3 waves. Any corrective structure, this can come back down and make that Gartley pattern that we looked at over 4 months ago, that does something like this and reverses at the 88 like that. So we'll see how that one plays out. If we're gonna come back down here at the 88, and then we're gonna get that 3-way move to the upside. So this was the forecast. See, I still haven't changed that forecast here to the upside. Looks like that is going to change slightly. We're going to come down with a move first. 3-wave move, 3-wave move, 3-wave move before we get this 3-wave move. So this 3-wave move may not be happening here. It will happen right at the bottom. Okay, does not have to touch here. It can even reverse at the 88 because of that bad pattern that can happen from there. So you need to now watch lower degree corrective structure. Look for this to break lower than this. Breaking lower than this, we're exposing this area. Okay, that's pound CAD, pound in New Zealand. Similar, look for a correction here. We're simply looking for this one to give us a deep correction. So this can start here. All of them can start doing this and push up higher. But we need to see what we're going to get, whether we're going to get a corrective structure here, and take it down. So the original analysis for this one, take a screenshot of the count here. I don't like calling it the count, the structure rather. Saying count can be misleading because we're not counting here. We're looking at the structure. We just label the structure with the numbers and the letters. Okay, so that's what we looked at. We looked at this one to come here into the blue box. It has come to the blue box. It has given this deep correction. This deep correction has only come down in a single wave. So we want it to correct and at least give us a 3 waves. The market moves in minimum 3 waves. It does not move in single waves. So let's see if we're going to get this A, B move, A, B move, A, B, C move like that. And that will be the Z that will end there. But for now, we need to get a correction and downside. Okay, that is pound New Zealand. Did I miss any pound pair? Pound Audi we did. New Zealand CADCHF. I think we did all the pound pairs. Audi we did. I think we can move on to the euros now. Looking at the euro pairs. So you see the next immediate move is happening in all the pairs. That pullback, whether it's going to be just a pullback, we're going to need to update. So pound, euro pound, we looked at this one to give us this red correction here and drop, similar to what we're expecting with the pound. But it looks like now, because this is sharp, it's not exactly a clear 3-wave move. It's very sharp. It can give us this one, come retest the top there before we drop, and give us a structure like this. That would mean that this X is actually here and not here. But either way, what you need to see is whether this is going to drop from there. Let's go into the 4-hour and see what is happening with this red X. It does not look like it's gonna drop. Let's see. So we're looking at this one as a 1, 2. It can give us another 1, giving us a WXY move before we drop. And all of that will still be an X move for downside. So when the pound pairs are going down, this one may push up higher with a correction and push up higher for 1 more before we go up. So this is supporting the fact that the euros may be strong short term in the next week. And that's why we're looking for euro US dollar also to push a little bit higher in the next week. Let's see how that plays out. It's going to be very interesting next week. So euro pound, let's look at the rest of the euro pairs. Euro Audi. Euro Audi. Euro Audi is busy correcting with this move. Let's switch off here. We're busy with this, what looks like a regular flat. I just don't like this move in the middle here, but otherwise the rest of the structure agrees with this regular flat looking structure here that will do this and will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And that will be, we're actually looking for Euro Audi to reach that blue line over there. We are looking for this one to get into this level before we drop. Why are we looking for that blue line? This is why we're looking for it. So so the trade will be to look out for a push higher out of this structure and at least coming back to this level. Why are we looking for it to go back up to that level? Is because of this. Look at the daily. If you look at the daily, the reason why we want Euro Audi to come there is because this is our target. That's our target. Why is this our target? It's because of the structure that we're looking at, which is this 1, 2, 3 there. And we're looking at this one as a running flat there. 1, 2, and then a 3. That retest that level. And if that is the structure there, 1, 2, 3, then we'll look for this one to come give us a big regular flat. And we've seen this with the EURCAD. Let's look at EURCAD on the daily. You will see that we've traded EURCAD, exactly the structure that I'm showing you here has already played out on EURCAD, and we have traded it. and this is how we traded it on EURCAD. EURCAD has now dropped. See, EURCAD had made the same structure to the downside, 1, 2, 3, has made 1, 2, 3 up and tagged exactly the level that we want on EURAUD, and has now reversed over a couple of hundred pips from there, over 900 pips from there, and that's making this look V pattern looking kind of structure that will make V give us a 3-wave pullback from there. Okay, so let's see how that one's going to play out. So whether this V pattern is going to be a continuation for more downside, let's see if that's what you're going to get. So the next immediate move we're always going to get. So now let's look at EURCAD. Just give me a second, guys. 1 second. We're back, guys. Sorry about that. Let's carry on. So the structure now on EURCAD is this one here. Let's look on the last piece here. We're looking for this one to give us one more down here. We made this one a pullback, and we'll be looking for this one to give us a 3-wave structure there. So this may still give us a 1, 2, 3 down here before we get that pullback or 3-wave move to the upside. So we'll need to start seeing divergence with this V pattern. You can see that we already have that that divergence there. We've got this making a higher high, a higher low, a higher low, a lower high, a lower low, sorry, and another lower low. So same here, if we make another low here and we make another high here, we'll be ready to get that bounce in 3 waves. Okay, so keep an eye on this one. Not very clear at this stage. Even on the 4-hour, I don't really have a trade set up here on this one. Still a little bit complex. Let's see. We may be getting a bit of downside, but not really convincing one, because it looks a little bit too sharp for upside. So we'll be looking for this one to come down before we get that upside on EURCAD. Okay, so that's EURCAD. Do we look at Euro New Zealand? Let's look at Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand. On the 4-hour, we've made this pulsing move to the downside. We've made a corrective structure here. It's now coming back down with this one. Let's see if we're going to get a correction. If we get this corrective structure, breaking this one will expose a little bit further downside back to this level. Because we've got a pulse, we've got a reversal, and we'll look for this one to continue with a move to the downside. Again, not a clearer setup there. Let's just take that off. Not the clearest setup on Euro New Zealand. But this is a corrective structure. It has made a clear 3-wave move to the upside and now coming back down. A correction in the 1-hour can take us down to this level. Right, that's Euro New Zealand CHF. EURCHF. So EURCHF, we looked at this to start as a diagonal. Let's switch everything off here. Started with a diagonal there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and has made the 3-wave correction. Now the question is whether this is still going to be an expanding flat, whether this is still going to be an expanding flat like this and push up higher. Because we've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal. 1, is this going to be a 2? And then we're going to push a little bit higher. So in the next coming sessions, because you're looking for the euros to be a little bit strong short term, this may have started the move to the upside. Let's look in the 1-hour, see if we've got any sort of impulse to confirm that upside. Okay, looks like we've got some impulsive move here. We've got this one here. Look out for this corrective structure. A break out of this channel here will indicate that this channel to the downside has ended and we're ready to come and at least retest this level before we go. Okay, so let's keep an eye on the corrective structure here. If it doesn't play out, leave it. It's going to come back down. You are only going to wait for this one to reverse to the upside. And then you're going to look for a trade because that's still in correction. at this stage. That's a EUROCHF. I think we've done with all the euros. Any other pair, guys? Okay, we can look at some of the New Zealand pairs. Let's look at New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD. We're looking for this to come back down, like very deep down, 1, 2. Even though this may push up 1, this is a corrective structure. We're still looking for this to come back all the way down, break this low and come back all the way down. And this is the 60-minute, so it's not very big moves, this. So the reason why we want that, so just that's the trade in the lower time frame. But the reason why we want that to come back further down is because of this. If we go to the daily, that is a corrective structure. We want this one to come back to that level. You can see that this made a move up, but we want this to come back here. That has always been the forecast, to come back down here before we start getting a move to the upside. So look for downside on New Zealand CAD. Look for downside on New Zealand CAD. Also on AUDCAD. AUDCAD. Loading a bit slow today. Okay, AUDCAD. A bit of strength in the Audi, but this can just be a corrective structure that will come back down here. We're looking for this one to come back into this blue box. There's a reason why we're looking into that. To do that is because of this overall structure here. We want this one to come retest here. Not retest anything actually. Make just this 3-wave corrective structure before we drop here. From there, then we're going to start looking for long-term upside on AUDCAD. For now, whatever is happening, any upside move, we leave, we let it correct, and then we take all the downside moves. New Zealand CHF. New Zealand CHF, 3-wave move, correction, same, we want this to come back down. So all this correction in the New Zealand pairs, in the New Zealand and the AUDCAD, you are just waiting for them to drop. Not reversals, so look out for these corrections. It's going to be nice, slow trades to the downside. New Zealand CHF. Also, you can look at AUDCHF as well. As you look at AUDCHF, AUDCHF also, we're looking at that to correct. Like this. Up, not with that color. Up, 1, 2, 3, up, correction. Like that. So we're just looking for corrective structures for downside on those. CADCHF, similar. That's CADCHF. CADCHF has already made this passing move to the downside, 1, 2, 3. It could make this one here. Even if CADCHF can make this one here, it will come back and retest that level like that. So we're busy with this correction. So that means this correction, when it ends, we're going to get a push higher, at least retest that level. That's CADCHF. Now let's look at oil and the indices. Oil, perfect structure, follow structure to the pip. Now oil is right in the blue box. Now you can see that with oil, we got all of these 1, 2, okay, not the first one. The first one started after we got to the wave 5. So then we got the move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this pulsing move into the blue box. We are now into the blue box. Are we going to reverse here? I think we're going to get one more down here. Maybe make an expanding flat before we start going. But otherwise, if it starts reversing from here, it's going to be a nice running flat with A equals to C, and then we start pushing higher. So oil so far following structure to the pip. So look out if you're going to get a corrective structure here. For now, reversal. Now this would have completed this structure, a running flat for upside. Okay, so but you need to get a clear corrective structure in the lower degree. Let's look in the 1 hour and see if we get a clear corrective structure impulse there. We don't have the correction yet. Let's just see if we've got an impulse, at least in the 1 hour, for it to take it up. It looks like it's going sideways. It's just correcting. So that means we're still gonna get more correction for further downside here. But let's see. We've got very strong divergence there. We've got strong divergence, you see here, making higher highs, just going sideways. So with this may actually start reversing from here. But let's see how that one plays out. It is currently correcting on the 1 hour, meaning we're going to get at least a small move to the upside here. But don't buy this move here without it being complete like that. It must be a clear, complete move. And then you can start looking for upside. That's oil. Very perfect setup, forecast, very clear structure on that. Oil, let's look at the indices now. Looking at the indices, look at the S&P 500. S&P 500 has been very easy from last week after we got those big impulsive moves to the downside. So this was the forecast that we're going to get this correction and we're going to get a drop. So the drop is still continuing. Let's just go a little bit higher for our. If you're looking at the 4 hour, you'll see all the indices have got very clear, simple structures. Let's look here. We're looking at this one here as a 1, 2, 3 in combination with a 1, 2, 3, and then a drop. Last week we were here with this pullback here. So we're going to drop here. That's what you got. You got the drop there, and we're looking for that drop to retest that level here before we bounce up again, making this an expanding or a running flat. So a little bit more downside up until this level. Let's watch this level. Let's do it with a clear structure. Let's switch off there. So that is the structure that we're going to be looking at. So if I just show you the structure without all those confusing numbers, that's the impulse. You've got a 3-wave move here, which looks like a regular flat there. You've got a corrective structure here. You've got another 1, 2, 3-wave move, making this a WXY move. Now this is an A move. This is a B move. And you've got this pulsing move to the downside. If you look here, you also have internally 1, 2, 3 in red, 1, 2, 3 in red, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in red. So you'll be looking for this one to come down then to this level and push up higher, making this either a running or an expanding. This can break here and go. So clear structure on S&P 500. So you'll see the NASDAQ has got exactly the same structure. Let's look at the NASDAQ as well. And the Dow Jones has got exactly the same structure as the S&P 500. We're just looking at this corrective structure. Let's look at the NASDAQ now. Okay, no, sorry, no. The NASDAQ does not have the same structure. It's just making a 3-wave down. 1, 2, 3-wave move to the downside. We want this one to at least come back to equal legs there. So a little bit push high, lower. That low, the push to the low side will be correlated to the last push that the S&P 500 will need to give us. That's the NASDAQ and the Dow, simply like that as well. Excuse me. Let's look at the Dow Jones. The Dow, same. So the Dow is exactly the same as the S&P 500. 1, 2. We're looking for this one to come back down here. You'll see that this one just touched this level here, and I will be looking for this one to just touch here and push up higher. As you can see, this will be a nice ABC move, clear ABC move before we push higher. Okay, very clear structures. ABC, push lower, and then we go. I'm not going to go all the way down. This is going sideways. So if it's going sideways, it's going to come back down and it's going to go. That is the Dow Jones. Let's look at the rest of the structures now. UK 100. UK 100. We were here last week. This corrective structure. Expected this to push a little bit lower. Okay. And this one to come back down here. So let's look, see where the blue box is. It's actually on the, let's look here, let's see. Let's just check here. We're actually right in the blue box here. We'll expect this to push a little bit lower around this area because the other indices are pushing lower before we start getting a move to the upside. Bit of a push lower before we come up. Let's do this. Push lower, and we'll expect a move to the upside. Same with all the other indices. A bit of a push lower before a move up. So that is the FTSE, that is the UK 100. Nikkei, I think Nikkei's got a clearer structure, so structure of them all. The corrective structure on Nikkei is very clear. It's playing out exactly as anticipated. 1, 2, 3. Expect a bit of a push lower before we push up higher. Very clear. No contest there. Very clear on the Nikkei. So if you're selling this now here, you need to be careful now that we're coming down to this level. You can break and reverse. Usually they like to break it and you think it's going down and people sell, and then it just does this because the structure, that's how the structure works. Right, so that is the Nikkei, the DAX. DAX, pulse, correction, 3-wave. So we're looking for this one for one more down, and then we're gonna start reversing soon. Okay, so the next immediate move will be to wait for what happens around this channel boundary. If we're gonna get a pulse and a correction, then we're gonna take it back up. A correction from the boundary here, it's one more down. But that one more down, it doesn't mean it's going down, it's just gonna be one more down before we reverse. But I'm inclined for this to start correcting here on the boundary, one down before we go. That is the DAX. Nifty. Nifty is making what looks like a running or an expanding flat. Let's see. So Nifty. So this wave 5 may still be a little bit further, and this will be a 4. So now it will depend what we're going to get here. We've got 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up. Now we've got a pulsing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So this can break here, reverse. Has already broken the top and reversed. So this move here can be an expanding flat or a running flat, and then can reverse from there and then go for that wave 5 that we're looking at. But that wave 5 is not the end of the cycle. It's a lower degree wave 5. With the cycle still pretty much upside. We still have long-term upside on all the indices. So that's why I'm not expecting a big crash anytime soon. So if you still like buying stocks, you can still buy stocks. Indices are still gonna go up. Okay, so that's what you're gonna be looking at on the Nifty. Right, that's the Nifty. I think that concludes all the indices. Now let's look at the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin. Okay, so now the cryptos, I'm gonna do them very easily now. So this is the structure that we're looking at. Let's just look at the structure and what is happening with the cryptos. Very corrective at the structure, going sideways, going really nowhere. So we've got this 3-wave move to the downside that we've looked at for a while. We've got this correction here. There's a 3-wave move down. We've got this 3-wave correction here. No, that's not even a 3-wave correction. Let's do it clearly. We've got this pullback. Okay. After the pullback, you get this. Let's just show the labeling here. After the pullback, you get this 1, this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3-wave move that we want to drop to this level. So that move will be a pulse, 3-wave move down, or 3-wave move down, a pulse up. That's what I'm expecting, and the last move to the downside before we go up. Okay, let's switch this off here now. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So you're looking at this move as a WXY. So that is the whole corrective structure that is correcting the whole move on Bitcoin. Okay. So internally here, you've got A, B, C. Internally also, you've got another. Now you're looking for this piece of the Y to drop. Okay, before we get this pulse. So remember, XRP has already had the pulse to the upside. We may get this pulse to the upside on Bitcoin. That many will think that this is actually the reversal, but in actual fact, we're going to have this pulse and we're going to still have one to the downside. This one will be the one that will be the end of the correction. Okay, but eventually, the way this is going now, this will eventually they'll drop it very, very low before you get that the end of the correction. So you should get a pass towards the end of this correction, and that will be the big move to the upside. But that's not going to happen in the next couple of days or weeks. It's still going to take time for this to play out. But we're just going to keep watching it and updating it. LITECOIN. Let's look at LITECOIN. So LITECOIN on the 4-hour. Let's go daily. It's a similar structure as Bitcoin. Only that LITECOIN has made a move down, has made this running flat. It's a running flat on LITECOIN, unlike on Bitcoin. So we're looking at this one as a W, it's an X, and we're looking for this one to drop a little bit lower into this area before we get that reversal. And that is why we want the drop. That's the blue box, very close to it. We want it to drop here before it pushes slow higher. So keep an eye on this one here. It's going sideways. It may drop just into the blue box. It does not even have to get in. So normally the blue box works are like this. It needs to just come into. Touch the top of the blue box before it reverses. So we'll see how it goes when it touches here. That's Litecoin, ETHEREUM. Right, Ethereum. We also just want it to come down into the blue box. We've got this move to the downside, three-way move, a pullback. Now we want this one. It's busy correcting here. A correction here will take us back into the blue box. Okay, so that's where we want Ethereum to go. So this correction may go a little bit more sideways before it drops in here. Right, that's Ethereum. And lastly, Ripple. Let's look at Ripple. Right, Ripple. The pulsing move that is going to happen on Bitcoin, that we are anticipating on Bitcoin, has already happened on Ripple like that. So this move could be a move WXY. This whole thing could be an X move, XY move. And then from there, if we get the Y, we will then take it to the upside. So it's going to be a 5-swing sequence here. Not a very clean one, because it's not even straight or parallel, but it is still looking like a very good structure to look at it like that. So that's what we're going to be looking at on Ripple. If we go closer into the lower time frame, you'll see that after that impulse, let's go 4-hour. After that impulse, we made a 3-wave move back. See, after that impulsive move, we made this 1, 2, 3, and now we're making this one. We're busy correcting with this one. So Ripple may push a little bit higher, maybe even retest that top here, coming down here, and then that will be the X, and then a Y. Okay, So let's see how that one plays out. So we are now going to look at Ripple on this correction here and see if it doesn't go back to the upside. Okay, so that's all I had for you this week. Good luck in the next week. Please don't forget to like and subscribe the video. We'll see you again next week. Good luck in the week ahead. Cheers, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.